Hey, it's BT with Tales from a Gemini. My guest today is Julian Correa, Juju Monster on Instagram. He is the first American to podium in the British Talent Cup. Just missed out on the Red Bull Rookies Cup. I have him tell you the story. I'm telling you, this kid is going places, 15 years old, and I think his future is so bright. You're going to love this kid. You're going to love his dad. I had his dad on. You're going to love him. Enjoy Juju Monster. There we go. Uh-oh. It's been too long. I've been on the road traveling, but you know what? Always got my ear and my eye on the Instagram, following America's hottest racers. And this guy I got coming up right now, man, I'm so excited. I had his dad on, and now I got him on. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for welcoming to Tales from a Gemini. And this dude right now, it's his birthday was a couple days ago. I think you're 15 now?
Yes, sir.
15 years old. He's the first American to podium at the British Talent Cup. Then he got a second place. I don't know why he didn't get first. I don't know why. I will find out. Anyway, welcome my friend, my newest, bestest buddy, Mr. Juju Monster. How you doing, Juju?
Good, dude. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great now, man. Now, thanks for being on the show. I'm excited. How'd you celebrate your birthday?
I was at Barber Motorsports Park this weekend for the Weird GNF, and that's how I celebrated my birthday, on the bike, doing what I love.
That's what, man, this oh my God, I love it. This is perfect. If I was a sponsor, I'd be like, okay, we got this kid. How great is that? Most people go to, Hooters, or back in my day, you go to McDonald's. You spend it at a racetrack. Actually, you know what? I spent my birthday at Barber 2 years ago on a racetrack.
Yep.
Is that your favorite racetrack in America?
Yeah, by far. Well, I would say it's my favorite racetrack so far. I haven't raced Moto America, so I haven't hit any of the really big tracks like the Ridge or Coda or anything like that. So for the tracks that I've ridden in America so far, it's my favorite for sure.
I think you got to hit Coda up and then make a decision. No offense to the Ridge, but I look at Barber and the Coda as the greatest American racetracks there are. I just really think Barber. The great thing about Barber is it really compares to the other tracks, I think, around the world, because it got the great museum there, and just what's your favorite part of the track? What's your favorite section?
Oh, so for me, I love the elevation.
Yes.
So going down into Charlotte's Web,
yes,
or after turn 2 is amazing. But I also love the fast and flowy sections. So the last sector, the lap from, the first really fast chicane after Museum Corner.
Yeah.
I absolutely love. Both those chicanes are really nice, and then how you go over the rise and then up into the long right-hander before chucking it into the left for the front straight. To be honest, I can't pick a favorite part of the track. Charlotte's Web is great, for videos and, practicing on with the braking techniques and everything like that. But then you have turn 1 that dips down and it's blind, and then you go up the crest after turn 2, and then you have Museum Corner where you're mid-corner and you can look and watch the world-famous Barber Museum. There's not really a favorite. The whole track, the facility, everything's amazing.
Well, you should be looking at the Museum Corner if you're going through. You should be like, hey, nice museum as you're racing. You should be focused on what you got to do. Because I was the same way with me. When I'm going that first turn and you see those trees there, and this is before I knew what I was doing. Not that I know what I'm doing now, but before I knew what I was doing, it's kind of scary to see them trees coming, and then you got to go, I got to go this way. You know what you're doing because you're a professional. But for me, it was scary. It was like a puckering moment.
Yeah.
But I love Barber. What's your favorite racetrack to be on?
In the world?
In the world, because you travel the world. So your favorite racetrack, if you had to pick.
I love Silverstone. You can't not like a GP track, can you?
Yes. Yes.
I went to Jerez this year. Jerez was amazing. For European Talent Cups, Jerez was amazing. I can't say enough about it. Just everything about the track, the feeling you get, and how much you can push around there is insane. But for me, I think it's gonna have to be Donington Park. Honestly,
I rode that track too. Look at us together. I rode that track too.
It's so amazing. My favorite sector I've ever ridden is Craner's Curve.
I don't know which one
That's
that
my
is, but yeah,
favorite.
I've done it.
So you have turn one,
Okay.
and then where you drop straight downhill, flat out, and then the right, left, right before going into Old Hairpin.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes.
That's my favorite sector.
I did
Oh,
that on a track day. I did it on a race school, and they got a little certificate. And I think they said the only thing I need to work on was my braking. And I was like, I was so happy. I mean, I was ecstatic. They called me up and they go, "Here's your certificate." And I was like a little kid. I was like, "Yay!" And they said, "Work on your braking." I said, "Okay, thanks." Yes. I was like a little kid, man. I was so happy. But yes.
yeah, that's Dunnington Park. Just I've ridden it 3 times now, maybe 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 I think now. It's amazing. Like I'm excited to go back to it every time.
What's your number? What are you great at as far as like on a track? Like, is it your braking? Is it your passing? Do you like the speed? Do you like what is your strong point?
For me, I've kind of been known for a bit of my braking. I guess you can say I'm a very hard, deep breaker, and that's what kind of I form my riding around during the race. So a lot of my race, I look back at my braking
Mm-hmm.
and where I can obviously, you have to have the corner speed on Moto3 and you have to have a bit of strategy because in Moto3 you never know what's going to happen. Honestly, everything's so tight and you're all in one big group, so you never know what is going to happen. But for me, I like to break down my passing in braking areas, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So for me, now I'm getting a bit heavy,
Uh-huh.
a bit bigger. So it's hard for me to make the overtakes that I used to when I was a bit smaller on the straightaway. So for me now it's just all about braking and the corner speed. So what I've been trying to figure out lately is how to use my amazing braking and combine it with corner speed to get, the maximum out of it.
Okay, wait a minute. How much do you weigh? In pounds. We're going American in pounds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I weighed myself this morning, 132 pounds.
And so now that you're getting heavier, you know what? I should just turn this podcast off right now. 130
No,
pounds.
well, it's heavier for us on the Moto3s. I'm slowly losing a bit, a mile an hour on the straight every weekend. It's going down a little bit, but it's good that we have weight regulations.
Mm-hmm.
In British Talent Cup, so everyone has to be a certain weight, which makes it a bit easier and makes it fair playground.
Well, you know what? Honestly, this is the way I look at it. I know it sounds bad, whatever, but I just like the way it looks. It makes you guys look more professional. I mean, you don't want to see a fat racer. I mean, no offense. I saw some guys, and I don't want to call out Moto America, but I saw some fat racers, and I go, that don't look good. I mean, it looks like like I could be out there. You want racers to look like racers, like, oh, that's a professional. You know what I mean? So I mean, you gotta want that sleek look. You don't want like a fat ass getting on the bike and like he races. You don't want people doing that. You want people to go, that's a racer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's another thing too that I really enjoy about racing is the time that I have to put in order to be successful in racing. So for me, going, to the gym or getting on the bicycle every day or going for a run and, improving my body, which obviously will help later on in life too. But, building that discipline to want to go out and improve your body every day is I think I find it pretty cool that's kind of what we have to do to be successful in racing, because you're not going to be successful in racing if you're tired after lap 5. You have to have the endurance and the strength to make it through what MotoGP races are like 27, 26 laps now.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the track, but yeah.
Yeah. So you can't be tired after, lap 5, lap 6, and then the rest of the race is over, So that's something that I find pretty cool about racing as well, is that all of us have to be, not only top racers, but we have to be top athletes.
Now, has it always been that way? Have you always liked to work out, or was it something you like basically willed yourself to like, I'm going to like this or I'm going to enjoy this process?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I've always been an active kid. You can ask my parents. I've never just been one to sit inside on a screen and sit there for hours with, with a controller in my hand. Obviously, I'm a kid. I like to play video games every once in a while.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Oh, I can't play any other games besides MotoGP or Rocket 4 or dude, I can't get away from racing, dude. I can't play any other game. I can't do it.
I love it.
I get bored. Like I'll play it for like 20 minutes. A lot of the popular games that kids play now are like Call of Duty or Fortnite. I mean, I can play it for 20 minutes and that's it. I'm bored. If I can sit and play Ride 4 MotoGP all day long.
So basically, you eat, breathe, and sleep this shit. I mean, that's what it is.
I swear. And if I'm going to bed and I'm like, I have YouTube on my TV or something, I have either a MotoGP race, Moto America race, one of my races, or someone, like an on-board video or something of a track that I'm going to next. Like I honestly, I can't get away from it. Like I just get bored with anything else at this point.
Okay, so what was your life like before you discovered the love of motorcycle racing? You decided to bleed your parents dry money-wise and get into the sport of motorcycle. Like, what was life like before you found the love of motorcycle where it became an obsession?
Yeah, so obviously you may know because you had my dad on the podcast, but my dad's always been in love with motorcycles.
Yes.
My mom growing up had dirt bikes. Her family, lived on a farm and they had dirt bikes. So the family has been around motorcycles before I came along. But when I was little, I was in love with ball sports. I played every sport under the sun. I did, flag football because obviously you can't tackle when you're 4 or 5. But I played flag football. I was really good at baseball, actually.
Yeah.
My dad almost made it to, which, he almost made it professional in soccer. So
yes.
I was really, really good at soccer. Played basketball in a rec league and, I was always doing something, and then, one time my dad went to go watch a race at New Jersey Motorsports Park, and we saw a couple kids on 50s doing demos with NJ Mini GP, and that's kind of where my love of motorcycle racing came, because before that I didn't really think too much of it. It was kind of just sit on the back of my dad's motorcycle, and but I never really felt that kind of tingly love feeling you get that I get now whenever I at the track or something. But before that, I was a big ball sports guy. Even still, I love playing basketball. For me now, I've kind of not really played as much baseball, football or soccer. Right now, my brother is pretty into basketball. So, I also quite like basketball. So we kind of have that mutual love for basketball, and we're able to play together. So whenever I'm not, training or working out or on a bike, I'm playing with him in the driveway and playing basketball.
Who's better, you or him?
Oh, I'm better because I'm taller. Once he grows like a foot or something, I'm still growing. I think he might have me because he's getting a bit better. But it's good because I'm able to push him to be better, because the kids he's playing with aren't going to be as tall as me. So I'm able to push him, and it's making him better.
How old is he?
Grayson's 10. He turned 10 last month, actually.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so that do you play him hard? Do you try to block his stuff and
Oh yeah, all the time. I swat everything. I don't let nothing go up, dude. Nothing goes up on me. He's got to get lucky to get it up. Trust me.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, you're gonna make him better. You ever made him cry yet?
Exactly. That's why I do it. It builds character. He's gonna want to bully all the other kids in basketball, and that's how you're gonna have to play the game, anyways. But it's good too because he hasn't really made up his mind whether he wants to play basketball fully or he wants to race motorcycles, which I know how that feels because I was in a travel league in soccer after we moved to Florida, and I had to, sit down for a couple of days and think, like, really put a lot of effort into, which one do I want to take more seriously? Because it was getting to the point where I was building I was getting really, really good at racing, but I had already been really, really good at soccer, and I had a pathway in both. But it was a really hard decision for me. But obviously, I had to pick racing just because I don't know. I can't really tell you why I picked it. I just did, and I'm glad I did.
Wow. So you were that good in soccer.
I'm telling you, dude. I was. I don't want to say. I don't want to toot my own horn.
No,
but
go ahead, toot it, bro.
I was
Toot
good,
it.
dude. I was good. I was starting in this travel league that was, number four. I think number 4 or 5 in the state. We were at some point, and I was pretty good, and I was a center midfielder,
Okay.
and it was I had a pathway for both, but I had to pick one. I couldn't do both.
You should have told me that when I saw you at Silverstone. I mean, when I saw you at Silverstone, you should have told me, and we would have got the ball out, and we would have done a little this and that. Hey, I'm pretty good. Tell you, here's how good I am. Now, I've never played soccer forever, okay, ever. But I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I practice a lot on my own. And in my gym, I go to the racquetball courts, and I kick the ball around. And this Nigerian guy came in, and he goes, "Hey, how long have you been playing?" I said, "I never played." He goes, "Are you serious?" So if a Nigerian guy said that, and I also played my buddy, who's also he's on a semi-pro team, and he shoots the ball around with me. Also, we kick the ball around, and he asked me how long I've been playing. I said I haven't. So I'm pretty good too. So next time we get together, it's gonna be me, you, and also Frankie Morbidelli has been talking a little shit too. So we all three can get together and kick the ball around. We'll see who's better. How about that?
Sweet. Yeah, dude, it was definitely a hard decision for me. It was probably one of the hardest in my life. It was just I had a love and a passion for both, and I was, I had a path for both, and I was really good at both, and I had talent for both. So it was a hard decision for me, but I'm sure my parents would have liked me to pick the soccer route and not motorcycle route for many reasons, but. I'm glad I did because I enjoy it so much.
Who's your favorite soccer player?
Oh, Messi now because he lives in Miami.
Okay, but before Messi moved to Miami, who's your favorite?
So my dad has always been a really big Ronaldo guy, and
Yes.
I was too. I was quite a big Ronaldo guy for a while, but Messi started growing on me quite a bit in the past couple of years.
Well, you know what? It's greatness. I spent my whole life hating Tom Brady, and then I went, why? I mean, he wants to get better. Later in life, he wanted to get better. He didn't get fat like most athletes. He wanted to get better. How can you hate people who are already great and they want to be even better? You want to be even greater. So you can still love both of them. I just like the path they both take on still trying to get better, and that's got to trickle down to you in what you do. If you see somebody like Ronaldo and Messi who are in their mid to late 30s, most guys don't go that long, and to still play at a high level.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's like Rossi, isn't it? Rossi, rode till he was 42.
And people don't realize Rossi was faster his latter year. I mean, he was fast, but everybody else, the young guys were.
Everyone else was just that much faster.
Yes, and he was faster, but it was just, and it was just time. But Rossi really didn't lose anything. Unfortunately, he didn't go out the way, you wanted him to, but still, he still had it,
Yeah, and the thing for me too is I read something on Instagram after Pedrosa did his amazing stuff around Jerez, and it was Pedrosa saying Pedrosa's 37 now, I believe.
Yeah.
And he was saying that he has so much more respect now for Rossi because Rossi, his last podium was when he was 38. And like Pedrosa was there, but he was saying it's just so much harder than it used to be.
Man, honestly, I mean, just little things that I do, like working out, it's harder. So, I mean, you don't understand it. You won't understand it until you get to my age, and by then I'll be dead. But so by then, if you get to my age, and I'll be dead, I want you to just kind of give me a shout out or whatever. But yeah, you don't realize how hard it is. It's the truth. But at the same time, man, what you kids don't understand is you're at one of the greatest stages of life right now. You got everything to achieve great. And people don't underestimate the value of YouTube. YouTube is everything. You can learn new training methods. YouTube and Instagram, social media. People talk about the bad parts of social media. Social media is the good parts is you can learn the mental or go to places where you can find how to get a mental coach or the mental game, the physical game. I mean, I'm so jealous of you guys. I really am because you have everything at your disposal now for greatness to achieve it, and it's right at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It is. It is cool too because you have that much. It's good to know that you have that much potential, and it's just kind of building that discipline to want to bring that potential out, and that kind of keeps me going too. To work out is I know I have that much more in me. It's just you just have to bring it out of you.
what do you feel you have to unlock that you have to really work on to release that greatness, or do you feel like maybe it's just time if you keep working and working?
Yeah. I think it's you don't become the greatest of all time overnight. It's going to take time. It's going to take experiences. It's going to take a bunch of learning curves, which I've had the past couple of years in the British Talent Cup. I went into it, not knowing what I was getting myself into really. And, I went out and I got my first podium the first weekend that I had ever ridden in British Talent Cup.
Wow.
So for me, now that I look back at it, I'm a lot more mature after I went through it. And now I look back at it and I'm like, well, maybe I wouldn't have, gotten to where I am now if that didn't happen. But I went through the whole rest of the season just, going for podiums and I only got one the whole season, and that was the only podium because I was just pushing too hard and clogging my mind with too much stuff. Like I wanted to make everyone proud, but I wasn't focusing on me and what I had to do. And I went into this season with a totally different mindset and a totally different approach to everything. I had lived there for 8 months last year. Mm-hmm. I lived in England for the 2022 season.
Where exactly in England? Where in England?
Just outside of Sheffield.
Okay.
With the GOAT himself, Jay Dexter from DRC Leathers. He housed me for those 8 months, but big shout out to him. I wouldn't be here without him. But I went into this season with a totally different mindset, totally different approach. And you can see the difference because, when I was here at home, I was always doing something. I was either working out on a bike, in the gym, on a motorcycle, doing something, and I knew that's what I was going to have to do if I wanted to be successful this year. And it was a lot easier being home because that was a big part of what I was missing last year was being home. Like, without being with my family for 8 months and only being 13 is really difficult. And, it's now I look back, I don't really know how I did it for 8 months. The first, month or so, you're like, oh, I'm away from home. I don't have to do anything. I'm without my parents and everything is going amazing. But eventually it does start to come back to you, you do miss your parents. You miss obviously the turd of a brother I have, but you miss laying in your bed. You miss the car ride with your parents, and you miss everything really. You become homesick, and it really affected me. But I didn't know how to get it out to the people that cared about me, and that was my problem. Was that I didn't speak up, and it hindered me for the rest of the year. And I only really got it out for the last 2 rounds. And those last 2 rounds were really positive going into this season. But I think if that was another, like I said before, a big learning curve that I had to go through in order for me to improve like I did this year. And last year I finished 12th in the championship, and this year we finished 5th. So there's a massive improvement, and it shows that I did put in that work, and me and my family, we worked together to get what we did this year. And, I finished with a lot more podiums than I did last year. And now going into this upcoming season, I'm going for one more year with the same team. And now I'm going for the championship. That's mainly what I want. And another big thing, which I'm sure we'll get into later, is Rookies Cup. And
I was going to hit you on that. Go ahead.
Because Rookies Cup it's a big thing for an American to be in. Not many of us get to go in, and it's really populated by a lot of the Europeans. So for us, it's a big honor to be in it. And I was able to go to the selection event, which we'll get into later. But my big motivation for next year is going straight into Rookies Cup for being a champion. You know, the selection event was really hard for me.
Yeah.
So for me, I just want to go in, be a champion, not have to worry about the selection event and just, solidify that I'm a rookies rider.
Now, you talked about it. We'll get to the Rookies Cup. I want to get to that. That's why I really want to get into that, man. And congratulations on being selected for that. But also, just make this, in being invited to that is. But like, how low did it get for you when you started missing home? Like you said, when you're young, at first you're like, I'm away from home. And then all of a sudden, like, how low did it get for you? Like, did you ever cry at night? Did you call your parents every night or whatever? Like, how low did it get? And how'd you get out of that hole?
So I was, every night, my mom's very affectionate. She has a lot of feelings. So every night I was on the phone with her going, saying goodnight before I went to bed. But for me, it was probably, the first 2 months were okay. But once they came to visit me at Knock Hill for round 3, I think it was at the time. And when they left, that's when they really hurt me after they left.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my season took a big tumble. And you could see by my results, I went from finishing and fighting in the top group to, finishing in the back of the second group. So it was really affecting me. I wasn't really doing much for my body. I kind of was, just doing a bunch of things that distracted me from the fact that I wasn't with them. And
what were you doing?
I never spoke up about it. So
what
that's what hurt me.
Like what exactly were you doing that you weren't, that wasn't conducive?
I was sitting around a lot and not doing anything really. I wasn't eating the best. I was, on my phone for most of the day and not really doing anything for myself and to improve me and my riding, which now obviously I do a ton of that, but back then I wasn't doing anything. Like, that's the best I can put it, is I just wasn't doing anything.
Well, who showed you the way? Because a lot of times people don't know how to be great. Now there's things I learned now, like, if I would have known that. But once somebody shows you, kind of like, at least for me, when they guide you and show you, like, okay, this is how you become great, or this is how you become better than everybody else, or this is how you make a day productive and how you go to a next level. When somebody shows you their blueprint and you can go from there, and how was it for you? Like, who showed you that way?
So for me, I have to give all credit to Michael Torres. Michael Torres is my personal fitness coach and mental coach.
Yeah.
And my dad had been asking me questions of what was wrong and why I wasn't performing like I was in the beginning of the season. Because the beginning of the season, I was performing it at a whole different level. And he was asking me, and for me, I couldn't tell him because he was part of the problem. Because I've always had my dad at the races. He's always been around me. Me and him are really close. Like, it's me and him versus me and my mom in the house, or first him and my mom and my brother in the house. That's just how it is. It's a two-sided house kind of thing. Just because me and my dad have built that bond between us with racing. In 2021, we were gone for 40 something weeks out of the year, just driving around the US, building the experience, riding all the club races we could. And that's kind of where our bond really became real strong. And, we share that love and that passion for racing. So that me and my dad have always been close, and he's always been at the track with me. I've never been at the track without him until these past 2 years. And I couldn't tell him because he was the reason that I wasn't performing, because I didn't have him.
Okay.
And when I finally opened up to Mike, because I couldn't hold it in any longer, like, it was affecting my sleep. That's how bad it was. Like, I was staying up really late at night just thinking about it. And I had to get it out because it was kind of torture leaving it in. And I eventually, spit it out to my coach, Mike, and he helped me get through it. In the last 2 rounds, I was able to, perform like I was in the beginning of the year, because he was able to give me this plan and this way to to not have to think about it and just, only focus on my job.
See, I think, and that's the part I think that is great with you, this generation, this time period in life. People look at the negative. I try to accentuate the positive, and that he was. I mean, I've had him on the show also. By the way, I know you're talking about. I love the guy. He's really quiet, but I love the guy because I love the results he has. And he has a relationship with Sean Dylan Kelly, who I know you love too, and I love. You can't help but love Sean. The guy's the greatest. He really is. But anyway, yeah, it's like you able to pinpoint what it was, and it always boils down to mental. 80% of everything is pretty much it's all mental, man. It's between the ears,
Yeah, you talk to a bunch of people that don't really know that much about racing like we do, and they all kind of just think it's you twist the throttle, you grab a brake, and that's all it is. But once you start to get into where you really start to take it to another level, and you start to become like a professional. And I don't like to consider myself a professional yet because I'm not in world championship, but
yes, you are.
For now, when you start to take it to a competitive level and you're racing other kids that are at your level and not just, a bunch of adults in club races, and you really start to figure out that it's a science, it's, I would say it's probably close to 85-90% mental. The rest of it's physical because your mind controls everything.
Yes. Yes.
Your mind controls this and your body. You can't do anything unless your mind's not right.
I would say to you, I don't know if you read anything or whatever. One of the best books that's helped me out recently is called Project 369. It's a book by Nicholas Tesla, and it's all about mathematics or whatever. And it also deals with the mental and affirmations and everything. If you get a chance, get that book. I think it'd be great for you because you already have a handle on the mental aspect of it. And I think that would just elevate you even more. I don't know if you read, but if you get a chance, get that book. I think it would help you out tremendously.
Okay, sweet. Yeah.
If you get a chance. Also, back to what we were going to talk about. It was October 18th when you got selected for the Red Bull Rookies Cup. And what people don't understand is, and I say this all the time, when the MotoGP bikes fire up, I mean, that makes everybody stop in their tracks. I mean, women go, you okay? You're like, yes, I'm okay. Yeah. And it makes everybody stop and look. Moto 3 is a damn street fight, and that's great racing. But the genesis of it all, and this is my opinion, is Red Bull Rookies Cup. That's where, I mean, it's like the seeds of greatness are planted. If you look at everybody from Marquez to Zarco to Mir, they all started in Red Bull Rookies Cup.
Yeah.
So what was that like when you got the call that you were going to, get a tryout with them? How was that? And how was it mentally when you find out that you didn't make the final cut?
Yeah. So it's been a dream of mine to ride for Red Bull Rookies Cup ever since 2015. When I first met Sean Dylan Kelly at Bushnell Motorsports Park and he had a Red Bull suit on. I started to build a relationship with him and his dad, and both of our families we're really close. His dad and my dad, me and him, we're really close. We're almost like, we're like one family now. For me, I look at him as an older brother. And when the Rookies Cup selection event opened up this year, that's when I first started praying that I wanted again. In 2021, I applied for Rookies Cup, but I was only 12, which is, I think, the time when it was open at 12, but I didn't get selected for the selection event, which was fine. I don't think I was ready for it anyways. Mm-hmm. But it was after Donington Park this year, and they had us waiting quite a bit. Or no, it was after Oulton Park. After Oulton Park this year, they had us waiting for like a week longer than we were supposed to. But I was on an airplane when I got the email, and just by myself. I fly by myself back and forth to the races. Mm-hmm. So I was on the plane by myself, and I read this email, and I didn't really know what to think or what to say. Like, I was speechless for the whole rest of the airplane ride. Like, I kind of just had like the butterflies in my stomach. And then when I got off the plane and met my dad outside the airport, I just gave him the biggest hug ever. It was like this feeling of relief almost. That, and, being able to say that I even got selected for rookies selection event is an honor in itself, really. They get what, 5,000, 10,000 applications a year around the world. And I was able to get selected out of the 110 riders that went there. And ever since 2015, I've been looking at the selection event post that Red Bull Rookies Cup does. And there's this big blow up of a Red Bull that sits over the pit lane. And once I got to the track and I saw that big blow up, water came to my eyes, like tears came to my eyes. I've put in 8 years worth of work and sacrifices that me and my family have done to get there. And when I was there and I saw it, I got really emotional. Both of us did, because there's so much that we've put into it as a family. And once we were there, I can't really put in words the feeling that we had.
Well, it's like, even though you didn't make it, it's like this. It's almost like in anything else in athletics. It's like Max and Lewis in Formula One, where Lewis was winning, but you saw the steady progression of Max, and you knew what was going to happen eventually, and it happened. It's like anything else in life with the Bulls and the Pistons. They kept chipping away, and they finally found a way, and then after that, that's when the dynasty started. And I just feel like, and it's just me speaking, out of term, but I just feel like the fact that you were there, you're like, okay, I'm here. I didn't make it, but I'm hoping you're using that for like fuel to your fire. Like you said, like it's your off season now. You're going to train. You know what it takes. You've been there. You had a little taste of that. It's got to make you hungrier for next season. Like you said, you want to win that championship and go into that Red Bull Rookies.
Yeah, exactly. After the first day when they were selecting the people for day 3, which I rode day 2. So when they brought all the riders, the 25 riders from day 1 to the 25 riders for day 2, that feeling of relief and like the feeling that I got in my stomach when I got picked for day 3, I hadn't even gotten picked for full Red Bull Rookies just to get into day 3. It was such an amazing feeling, honestly. And I was the first American to get picked for the day 3, like not overall, but that day, like my name was first before Christian Daniel and Jesse James. So it was kind of, I didn't have to wait too long for them to say the United States, but still it was like the biggest feeling of relief and happiness, really. Like the whole night I went to bed with a smile on my face, and I woke up, brushed my teeth with a massive smile on my face. So, but when they called Christian Daniel Jr. for the United States on the full Red Bull selection event, I knew I probably wasn't going to get picked, but I think I can say that I was maybe the second rider to get picked from America if they were going to pick another rider. So I'm proud to say that I made it to day 3 because, out of the 5,000 applications they get a year, I made the top 50. So that in itself is an honor.
Now, do you think, nothing's really, really, really fair, but do you think like there's a bias, a European bias, so to speak, like, especially with the Spaniards? And I know, and they do a great job. I really do. I think Red Bull Rookie Cup is great. They do a great job of, you had riders from Finland that you never heard of, Finland or what, I don't know, they had racers there in Denmark. But at the same time, do you feel like maybe I don't see what the problem would be if you had 2 Americans who are really good that, hey, well, how come they can't be in Red Bull Rookies Cup? How come it can just be one? Like it's the Highlander.
Yeah, they did pick 3 Spanish riders, I think. I think it was 2 or 3 Spanish riders, 2 or 3 Italians, and 1 from every other country that they picked. I think there was 1 from South Africa, 1 from America, 1 from England that got picked from the selection event, but Evan Belford won the championship. So he just went straight into Rookies Cup. They picked 1 from the Netherlands, 1 from Austria, I want to say. Somewhere like that, and 1 from Poland, I think. So obviously they pick the most of Spaniards and Italians, but you can't really deny what they're doing in Spain and Italy. Like they are that good that they deserve to have that many riders go in, and they're all like equally as quick. So I think it's harder to be a Spaniard and get picked than it is for an American to get picked, because there's so many of them that get into the selection event because they're all so good. But for me, I think it's more difficult to be a Spaniard than it is to be an American, because there was 27 riders got picked from day one, which was Spanish riders, Italian riders, and French riders that went and rode. And I think 16 out of those 27 were Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something like that. That list was just full, just Spanish. Like it was full of just Spanish riders. So, and there was 3 Americans that got picked for day 3. So it's a lot more difficult, I think, for a Spaniard to get picked. But they are all just on that level. So you can't deny it. You can't say they're not doing their part.
Did you cry when you found out you didn't get picked?
This close. This close. I was in my dad's arms and I was this close.
Oh.
Close.
No, that's good. I don't think there's anything bad with that at all. I mean, I just asked because, I mean, when you really, really want something and you put that effort in and you don't get it, man, I mean, I'm a firm believer, man. You cry and you get it out, and if you take that positive and let it be.
But it's motivation. It's motivation for next year, because now my motivation, win the championship, straight into Rookies Cup. Don't even have to worry about the risk of a selection event. Just go straight in. Dude,
I can't wait. Man, do you remember, I don't know if you saw this, but you guys were going to go out the track at Silverstone. I'm watching. I was like, it's my boy. I didn't want to get too close. And you guys getting ready mentally. And I was like, all right. And I saw you guys, I was lined up. And man, I was backing up. And I didn't know there was a curve there.
And you slipped your hair.
And I went like that. Did you see me do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I did see that. Yeah.
Did you laugh? Did you laugh at me?
Yeah, I tried so hard not to, just because I had, the headphones in and I was about to put my helmet on, but I was so close to laughing. I couldn't. Because I had met you only like a couple hours earlier, and it was so hard for me not to laugh.
Man, you should have. I make fun of myself all the time, but man, the fact that I did all this with the arms and I had that look of fear in my eyes, like, God, please don't let me fall in front of these kids. I mean, I was like, I wondered if Juju see that. Yeah. I was just wondering if he did. But let me tell you something. When we were in Silverstone, I made a point to sneak into places I weren't supposed to be in. I was kind of sit and went in and watched you guys. And I watched you, and I was really, really. So I wasn't just whistling Dixie. I was like, I was there to see you, and I watched both your races. So yeah, I was there for you, bro. I mean, I was looking down at you. I was inside. You're gonna stand looking at you like, come on, bro. I mean, I really was like, come on, bro.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, the race 1 at Silverstone was hard. It was, if you I'm sure you remember, but it was a really big, rainstorm that was just flooded the whole day. And the track was really sketchy conditions, and I crashed at 3rd. So for me, that was a really difficult day, because I think it was 4th in the championship at that point. And when I crashed out, I, missed out on those 16 points. So I dropped back to 6th place. So that was a hard race for me. But I always enjoy the weekend at Silverstone. You can't really not enjoy it, can you?
Oh my!
It's MotoGP. MotoGP is MotoGP. You're riding with the best of the best in the world. You walk around the paddock and there's like 5 MotoGP riders just walking by you or riding scooters, and you're able to walk down the trucks and you're able to be in pit lane, and you can't not have a smile on your face while you're going through MotoGP. It's impossible.
That's why I love talking to you guys, because I have nobody here to talk to me about this. So I don't have anybody to say that to, because no one gets what the fuck I'm talking about here. That's why I'm like, you guys know. It's like, I mean, anything else in life, like I've worked with the biggest comics, this and that, but when I'm around MotoGP guys, I go, Even to this day, I go, like, I think, it was in Silverstone. Marquez came into the Alpine Stars. That's where I got this t-shirt. He came into the Alpine Stars hospitality and gave it like a talk, and we asked some questions, and I was like, and we took pictures with it. Like, who makes you do that when you're at MotoGP weekend? Like, say it's Silverstone. Like, who was the one rider? Maybe it's all of them that makes you just go, like, you kind of like lose your shit for a little bit.
So when I was at MotoGP, I hang out with Sean quite a bit in MotoGP because I don't really get to see him that much throughout the year, obviously, because he's, he has a World Championship calendar and he's all over the world. But one of the MotoGP riders came up and they were talking to Sean. It was Maverick, I believe.
Yeah.
And I was stood next to Sean while he was talking to Maverick because they're like training buddies with Aleix Santacreo.
Yeah.
And they were talking and I was like in awe that like Maverick was just right in front of me. And then they finished talking and, I said bye to Sean or whatever. And because I had to go get ready. And I was walking up in the Grassini hospitality and Alex Marquez was just stood right there on the top of the hospitality. And I was like, what's going on? It was insane, honestly. And then I go to make a left and then I'm walking towards the Alpine Star hospitality and the truck they have for the rider support.
Yeah.
And then Nea Bastianini and Jack Miller walk out. And I was like, oh my God. And this was like the first day or something. And I was like, it was my free practice one or something. I went to go say hi to Sean. And then I go back to the team and I see 4 MotoGP riders there. It was insane, honestly. But I didn't get to see Marquez all weekend.
Yeah.
My teammate did, but I didn't get to see Marquez.
Man, but they're all so cool. I mean, they really are. And it's funny, because I'm a grown-ass man. I was in Alpine Stars, and I swear, Maverick, like I was in Maverick's way a little bit. He goes, oh, excuse me, BT. And he put his hand on my shoulder, and I was like, I mean, it was like, you would have thought that the hand of Jesus hit me. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's crazy because they're humans too. Like they're just normal people, but you look at them a totally different way just because of what they do.
Yeah. I mean, but that never leaves me, man. It never leaves. Like, I'll act like I'm all cool and shit, but man, when they walk into the room, I would stiff arm my mom to get out of the way if I could talk to Marquez or any of those guys.
Yeah, even like I was stood in the back of American Racing truck, and it's just like Jaume Masia walks by with full leathers on, like, and just goes and gets changed right next to me. I'm like you watch these guys on TV, and until you actually see them in person, like they just like fill you up with this kind of like excitement and then it like fires you up to want to be like them. Yeah.
I could see you racing against Jamie Masia. I mean, honestly, because you're kind of similar. He's in Moto3. You can come up, you could be there. So I could see you racing against him. It's funny. I make fun of him. I call him the Home Alone kid, especially when he first started. I could be like the Home Alone kid. And then I saw him in person. I go, this kid could whoop my ass because he looks a little different in person, man. He looks a little, you know what I mean?
Dude, they all look like they can, though. They're all ripped. They're all massive.
They are. You don't see on TV. It looks small, but man, you see him in person, like holy shit, this little 18-year-old could whoop my ass. I mean, I got kind of scared of him.
Oh, who was I saw? It was one of the Japanese riders from the Asia. I want to say it was Tayo Fursato.
I was gonna say the same thing for Fursato.
He's like a little tree stump, but he's like bulky and he walks like this. And I'm like on TV, they look like this.
Yes.
But when you see them, they're like big, like their calves are like massive. Their quads are like sticking out of their shorts.
And you take a picture and you put your hand on their shoulder. You're like, oh my God, it's like granite.
And it's like a firm grip too.
Yes.
And it like hurts your shoulder blades and it's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Oh,
crazy.
Yes. I'm asking this question because Sean Dillon Kelly, since he's my buddy too, and he gave me the best answer to this. And I asked him, I go, what's your favorite oh shit moment in racing? And I asked him this, and he goes, when he was in Red Bull Rookies Cup and he was in the ref, and I forget what turn he's going around. He goes, I'm really, he's on it. And he said, Raul Fernandez went around him and he goes, holy shit, this is what I got to do. So what's your
I had the same thing at Jerez. Okay, so ETC, it was my maybe second or third lap I had ever ridden the track. Like I've never been to Jerez until then. I had never touched, well, because I had a different bike. Well, it's the same bike, but there was a couple more things to it. So I was still trying to get used to it. And Maximo Martinez flies by me like I'm stood still. Like second lap of the weekend, and he's just gone. And I'm like, what did I just get myself into? What am I doing here? Pack it up. We're going home. I don't know why I'm here. I have the exact same thing around Jerez. I don't know how we've never talked about that with him, but
no, I just remember Sean told me that story.
Yeah.
And he goes, you told him that? He goes, nah, I've never told Raul that. And I just thought that was funny. And every time I see Raul, I want to tell him that story, but it's hilarious.
It was Max Martinez, and then Guido Pini goes around. He's last year's champion. Yeah. And then Maximo Martinez is leading the championship this year. And he's just gone. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a great weekend. Because it hurts you inside too. Because you're like, I want to be with them, but I just don't know how they're doing it.
I know what you mean, man, but I just think that's hilarious that you're racing too. And to the outside eye, for me, looking at you guys, I'm going, how do they do it? And to see somebody, but you're in it. So to see somebody go around you and you go, holy shit, how is he doing that?
How is he doing that? And even still, I'm sure if I ride with him at Jerez again, I'd still be like, how? Because I finished the weekend 2 seconds off their lap times.
Wow.
Which for me isn't that bad, but still, it's 2 seconds is 2 seconds.
2 seconds. I was going to say that, but I don't race, so 2 seconds. But 2 seconds is 2 seconds. So let me ask you this. I mean, from the outside looking in, Moto3 just looks like they're in it, and there's no plan. Look like it's a big street fight, but there's got to be some kind of strategy. So what is that strategy? And I watched your races too. You have them up on your YouTube channel. By the way, you guys go to Julian Correa on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel that shows all his races. And I watched too. It looks pretty much the same. And it's a dog fight too. You on those English tracks, people don't realize those tracks are very narrow. And that's a street fight too. So is there any strategy at all in that?
So for me, throughout the race, you do develop a bit of strategy. Going into the race, you have no strategy. Obviously, you want to say, oh, I'm just going to go out, win the race. I'm going to throw down a bunch of these lap times. I'm going to go win the race. It's never going to work. It's not going to work. There's this thing called a draft. It's not going to work. So it's not, unless you're a second faster than everyone else, it's not going to work. So you do develop a strategy. You notice where some people are slower. You notice where some people are faster than you. And then you have to kind of put it all together in the last 3 laps. And, most importantly is the last lap, which you want to be, second, third going in the last lap. You don't want to lead. You don't want to lead, and you don't want to be outside the top 3, because by then it's too much work to get, onto the podium. So it's, for me, Dunnington race 1 was the best race I've ever had in my life. I started 11th, which was my most poor qualifying of the season. And I fought my way up to second in the race. And I finished on the podium, which was super cool because I had my dad there. And because we were going to Rookies Cup the next morning. We had to catch a flight from the airport to go to Rookies Cup in the morning. So he had to come with. But, that was super cool to have him there. But for the race, it was just so much going on. There was 8 or 9 of us in a pack, and it was either you pass or you get passed. That's how it is in Moto3. Yeah. And I started developing, a bit of strategy. I was figuring out where I'm quicker, where they're quicker. And I noticed there was this one area where I was just miles quicker than anyone else on the brakes. And it was, so you go down Crange Curve, then you have that tight right, and then you go back uphill, left, and then into the long right. Yep. And there on the brakes, I would draft up to the side and pass 3 people at once on the brakes. So I, only did that once, and I was like, I could do that. That's my corner. I own that corner. No one's getting by me there. So I noticed where some of the other people were quicker, and I tried to improve there throughout the race. So when it came down to the last lap, that's not where they were going to pass me if I made my move there. So I set my race up perfectly. On the last lap, P4, I think actually. Went on to the last lap, P4, sat behind them. And then once we got up to the top, from fourth, no, I got passed down Cringe Curve from fifth to second in one corner. And from there, I got drafted by one person going down into Foggy Zesses, which is the chicane before going downhill into that tight right-hander.
Yeah.
And I got drafted down into there. So I was third going into Foggy Zesses. And then Emmanuel Brinton was actually the person that redrafted by me, got by, made the pass. And then down into Melbourne Loop, he tried to go up the inside of the leader, but the leader stayed to the right. So he went a bit wide. And I was like, I need this podium. Like, I'm taking this podium. This podium's mine. So I went up the inside, and because he left a little bit of group, like, I don't know, maybe this much room, but that's just enough for a front wheel. So I put the front wheel there.
Yeah.
We ended up having contact. I think he did end up crashing out of the race because of that, but which obviously wasn't my intention, but things happen. A race is a race. It's Moto3. So made the move, and then wasn't able to, because that happened. I got not the best drive, so I couldn't make the move on P1, but finished the race P2, and it was by far the best race of my life. Like everything from the plan that I had in the beginning of the race, the end of the race, it all worked out. The plan was really just to find my strengths and my weaknesses, and build the weaknesses and just maintain the strengths. Because, starting from P11, you never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Going to that first turn, the whole shot, man, who knows what can happen?
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're on the outside and the two people on the inside, touch, and they're both out and you're gone too. So you never know what's going to happen, in the tight group like that. You just have to have – that's another thing cool. Oh, that's another thing that's cool too, is that having that trust and like building the trust with other riders and trusting each other, you're not going to, have a big mess in one corner. So that's another thing that's pretty cool about racing.
I'm going to ask you, because you kind of brought up a little bit now. We always talk about, riders having the red mist. Have you ever been really pissed? Like, of course things happen. You go, man, but were you like, you know what? I'm not letting that slide. Like, when have you got the red mist where you couldn't think straight?
That was the race where I felt that. But to be honest, I feel it more in America than I do in BTC.
Really?
Because I race my NSF 250, which has 47 brake horsepower, maybe, if that. Yeah. So I know I'd get lucky if I hit 115 on a straightaway. And then they throw me in races with V2s that are twins, and like big SV650s and RS660s and R7s here in the club races. And I get so pissed off because I fully obliterate them through the corners and on the brakes, and then on the straightaway it's just gone. And it's like, oh, come on. And that's where I really get like, where I only see red. And I'm just like, I'm going to destroy you. Like, honestly, like I want to, hit you and just knock you off your bike, but I can't, because I know I'd get knocked off the bike because I weigh nothing compared to that. So, but no, I did feel that at Dunnington. Like I just saw red. Like it was so much like red that my dad asked me, because I've never raced like that in my life. I've never had that much contact ever in one race. I think I had more contact in that one race than I have ever in my life. But he asked me after the race what was different. And I told him, I don't know. I cannot tell you what happened in that race, because I just shut my mind off and my body was just doing it. Like I wasn't thinking about anything. I wasn't thinking about what would happen if I did this, what would happen if I didn't. I was just doing it, really. And that's something that I'm really happy that I figured out now, because that's something that you need work going forward in the Moto3. Because what you think Moto3 guys think about their passes? David Alonso doesn't think about nothing. Massey doesn't think about anything. Munoz 1,000% has no idea what he's doing, but he does it anyways.
Denny Untrue, man, get the hell out of the way.
Doesn't think about anything.
Yes.
Him and Munoz are the most aggressive riders I've ever seen. They do not think about anything.
More aggressive than Alonso? Alonso's the same way. I personally,
Alonso's clean. Munoz, nah. On shoe.
No, I think they're all pretty much that, except for Sasaki. Sasaki seems like to be the only one who's sensible. Like if
who thinks about something, he thinks.
Yeah, if there was
he's a bit hesitant.
Like if something happened, there was a big fight, you want Sasaki to talk to the police. You know what I mean? Like, okay, here's what happened. You know what I mean? Like he'd be the one to talk to the police. Where meanwhile, you want Munoz, Salgado, and everybody else like, hey, you guys shut the hell up.
They'd be in the fight.
Yeah.
They'd be part of the fight. They joined in. They don't know what they're fighting about, but they joined.
They're just throwing punches, man. They're throwing punches and bunches. You know what I mean?
They're just in there.
Okay. Yeah. Is there been a rider that you just don't vibe with? Like you go, you know what? I just don't like this guy. Like it maybe it started on the track and you go, okay, maybe it's a race thing. Then after a while you go, you know what? I just don't like this guy.
I don't know. I don't like to hold anything against people. I'm sure there are a couple riders that are a bit aggressive in racing, but I think I've kind of built that up in me too. So that way I can't just say, well, he's riding too aggressive when I had that much contact in the race. So I can't say anything about that anymore, but I don't really, for me at the racetrack, I don't talk to people. Okay. Like if I talk to you, I really like you, or you're important to me and in my program. Like if you can ask anyone, like I'm the most chill guy at the track, off track. Like when I'm riding, I come into the box with, headphones in, vibing, not talking to really that many people, unless, you're my crew chief, data technician or some of my mechanics. But even after, when there's 4 hours left to one of our sessions, I don't talk to anyone. Like, honestly, I keep to myself. I have my teammate, George Bose, who's, he's kind of came into my little brother now, because I stayed at his house while during the season. His dad would pick me up from the airport, and then we'd chill. We'd get a bit of training in during the week, and then we'd head to the track together. But so I talked to him quite a bit just because, it was his first full season. So I took it as an opportunity to help him and, kind of give back what his dad's doing for me this year. So I helped him with whatever I could, on the track. If he needed a bit of a tow, I'd give him a tow. I'd give him, 5 minutes of the session to sit the line, see the lines, and because I've ridden the tracks before and he's never ridden them before. So he kind of has to see that. But everything else, I don't really talk to any of the other riders outside of the team. Like I talk to the teammates, George in particular, but everyone else, I might say a couple words to you if you had a good session or if you won the race. But other than that, I don't really talk to too many people. So there's not really somewhere where I'm like, I really do not want to talk to him this weekend, or I'd keep me away from that kid, or I might get into a fight with him or something. So there's not really anyone that I'm really like that. I don't like to hold that against people.
That's why, honestly, I was excited to see you, but I was like, man, I gotta chill, because I can't contain it. I don't know why. I'm a grown ass man, so I realize I do, but I realize you're racing, and here I am coming and if you don't know me, you're like, why is this guy is this a crackhead? Why is he coming at me like this? I don't even know this dude, but I can't contain it. Like that's the happiest I am in the world is when I'm at a racetrack. I mean, I'm just I'm so happy, and it's MotoGP, and I'm gonna go see. Gotta talk to your dad. I'm gonna go see Juju, and you were there. I go, but I knew you were talking to your dude. I think I don't know who was it, your owner or whatever. But anyway, you were talking to him. I go, okay, just be cool. And I know you were trying to get, because the weekend didn't work out like you wanted. And I was waiting. And then you came in. I go, hey man, so how'd it go? And I was I'm like this the whole time.
No, that's cool. That's good. That means you have a love and a passion for it.
Well, that could also get me arrested. I mean, if he didn't know me, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like this. I'm just glad you said you saw me almost fall. That's the funniest shit because I didn't think I was hoping you didn't see that. That was the most incredible. That was the most bonehead moment. But I had to laugh myself. Like I can't believe I almost fell in front of you. Okay, before we get out of here, before we get out of here, it's race day. What do you listen to on your headphones? Like, how do you get yourself into the zone?
All right, so I have actually a Spotify playlist just for racing.
Look at this dude. Look at this kid. This kid, not even a kid. Look at this young man.
Yeah, I have a Spotify playlist I named just for race weekends, and like I said, I'm a really chill person.
Yeah.
So I listen to like some chill rap, if that makes sense. Like,
no, bring it up. I want to hear it. Bring it up. Bring it up. Bring that playlist up. I want to know what you listen to because I want to be like Juju Monster.
It's a lot of Travis Scott.
You know what? So does Fabio. He listens to Travis Scott.
Yeah, it's a lot of Travis Scott. I have a lot of Travis Scott's new album.
Okay.
I listen to a bit of Drake, but Drake kind of gets me a little too hyped sometimes, so I can't listen to Drake. That's one thing about me. If I race, I can't be hyped. Like my dad tries to hype me up before I can't do it. I won't ride. Like I have to be chill in a like state of zen, really. Like a lot of people are like I look on the grid and there's like a bunch of riders that like, like tapping their chest, or like going like this and they're like, giving a mechanic's big hug or whatever. I'm like, I look at them like kind of side eye almost like I can't do it. Like I don't understand how they do it. Like me and my mechanics, we dap each other up and then fist bumping and he's out really. So that's I can't get too hype. If I get too hype, it throws me off and I make a mistake somewhere.
See, that's why that's my favorite. Actually, that's my favorite question because my favorite point of anything in athletics, maybe just in life, is that moment right before it we're time to do the business. You know what I mean? It's like you're in there and everybody is different. I was talking to Rocco Landers. Rocco listens to like history podcasts while he's on the grid. He's got his headphones on. He's listening to history podcasts. I mean, who does that? But everybody's different. But my favorite point is, and I call it the Shankalankley moment, because people don't realize when you're on the grid and it's time and you get that, and the horn goes off, and then the bike goes off the stand, and you hear like shankalinkalinkalink, shankalinkalinkalinkalinkalink, shankalink, and everybody's getting, and then like you said, you dap your mechanic up, and you put your gloves on, whatever, and then they start that bike up, bro, and it's time to get it on. And that's my favorite moment, man. That's why I try to stay out of the way, and I just study everybody. Like, what are they doing? What are they listening to? What, where's that brain at? Where, what are you thinking? And that's my favorite moment.
Yeah, you see a bunch of riders, make like posts about like, silence, like they do, like they put like AirPods and then they do, and then like you turn it and then it's like them with their helmets on. Like some people think it's a joke. It's not. Like I don't hear anything when I have my helmet on, and you're like about to go out, like not necessarily before FPs. You kind of have to talk to people for that. So you do listen to stuff, but like when you're on the grid by yourself, it's just you and the bike and those lights. Honestly, even when I'm full, like revved up, I don't hear anything. Like people think it's a joke. I don't hear anything. Like it just goes quiet in my mind.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love that. I like everybody's process is different, but I love hearing that. Like, that, like I said, it's that moment before and everybody's is different,
Yeah. It's kind of weird and I don't know how to explain it because I can't do it with anything else.
No,
unless I'm in British Talent Cup, because that doesn't even happen here, like racing Weir or something. It's only BTC that I've had it so far because I haven't gotten it. Well, ETC as well, but like it's just complete and utter silence. Like I can't hear anything besides nothing really.
No, it's not weird. Everybody's process is different, but it shows that you're focused, and I love hearing that you're focused. You're passionate. God damn, man. I honestly, I was always a big fan. I'm even a bigger fan now. I really am. I'm even a bigger fan. I love what you're doing, man. And I always say what your dad is doing for motorcycle racing in America is not to be understated. That guy, I just think especially in Florida, even, with the great weather, he's starting something, man, that shouldn't be understated. Like, I think the great American road racers are going to eventually will come through Florida. And what your dad's doing should be commended, man. So I commend you on what you're doing. I'm an even bigger fan. If you guys get a chance, follow Juju Monster on Instagram. This kid is going to the top. You hear him. He's focused, and he knows what he wants to do. And when he's got his headphones on, he's listening to some cool-ass Travis Scott music, and he's about to ready to do that thing.
That's it.
Real quick, give me your top 5 athletes that you look up to. They don't have to be motorcycle racers, but your top 5 athletes of all time that you look up to, that you get guidance from.
Okay. Number 5, I'm going to go to Ronaldo. I love his work ethic.
Right.
He never settles for anything more than his best. Number 4, I'm going to have to go Marc Marquez, just because I'm a massive Marc Marquez. He's my favorite rider of all time.
Yes.
Number 3, he's not really an athlete, but my dad. I look up to my dad more than anyone else.
Yes. That should be said. Yes. Yeah. I love that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Number 3 is my dad. I actually, you know what? We'll put him in number 2. Okay. Number 2 is my dad.
Okay.
Number 3, another athlete that I really like is LeBron James. Just because of how long he's been going for. Like, he's been going forever. Well, how old is he? Almost, 30 something, right?
Yeah, about 36. I think 38, 38, I think.
38, yeah. So, that kind of, and he's never dropped off his top. Like, he's still performing at a really high level.
Yes.
My dad, number 2, and number 1 is Sean Dillon Kelly.
Man, yes.
Number 1.
I love that kid.
I look up to him more than anyone else. He's not, he may not be the greatest full time, but in my eyes, I think he is.
No, I really think, the way he's come up and I never met his dad, Pat. He hits me up on Instagram every now and like, hey, thanks for, whatever, my son, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, man, I fucking love your son. So, yeah, man, Sean Dillon Kelly, I love that kid. When I see him, it's like a ray of sunshine, and I know he's going to shine through. And I loved how he got done wrong by whatever, but he came back on that other bike and got a point with them, and I love that. That just shows resilience, and he'll be back. So yeah, I'm glad you gave a shout out to him, man. I'm up against it. Jay, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, man.
Dude, thank you.
Listen, go celebrate your birthday properly. Go to Hooters, get one of those girls to get you some wings or something, man. Live life a little bit. Motorcycles are great, but every now and then, you got to take a little time off. So go to Hooters, get some wings.
You got it, dude.
Thank you, man. I mean that, dude. I'm a big fan. Follow Juju Monster. This kid, I'm telling you, MotoGP in the future one day, I know he is, and he's going to win the Red Bull Rookies Cup, and I know he will. I got faith in you, bro.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm BT. This is Tales from Gemini. I hope you enjoyed the episode. You know how we say about this time, the word.
Peace out.